comes to the service of a man to his creator, if a person will not make the effort of his own, he's going to lose the opportunity. The moment that he wants to do it and he puts the effort, then they help him from above.
Do you remember how I told you how I acquired the Rebbe's dowry? I was ready to pay $4,000 for it. And that day, he gifted it to me.
Wow.
Goes to show you that
Okay, so what are we talking about?
So we're talking about this week's Parshah. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome back. Okay, so I want to do something really, really quick. How have you been?
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I'm good to have you back.
We missed we missed you last week.
Yeah.
So some really nice nuggets from the beginning of this week's Parsha. It's funny, I always start at the beginning and I just read a lot about the beginning and then I leave the rest of the Parsha out because there's so much. So if we do this long enough, maybe the year after we'll continue.
Yeah, it's all repetitive anyway, so we're going to come back.
Yeah, but it's just so good. There's so much. There's so much.
And every year you pay attention to more and more details.
Yeah, it's endless. It's endless. Absolutely endless. It's incredible. Okay, so here's the question. The pasuk begins with vs.fear. Yaakov went out, right? So now already in last week's parsha we know that Yaakov went to Lavan.
That's right.
He went to Haran. So why does the pasuk have to tell me again vs.fear, that Yaakov left? Mm-hmm. So there's three answers, three reasons for why. Number one, because Yaakov didn't want to leave Eretz Yisrael. Now, even though he was allowed to, because for a shidduch you're allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael, there's halachas. You're not allowed to stop leave Eretz Yisrael for no reason. You can't just leave if you don't have a reason. It's a holy place. So you're allowed to.
One of the reasons why the Rebbe never went to Israel.
Oh, because then he wouldn't be able to leave.
Because he said, then I wouldn't be able to leave. Then I'm at a dead end.
I heard that
There's
before.
no real reason for him to leave unless he's learning Torah. So he wouldn't have a reason to leave.
Yeah, I heard that once.
You heard of that? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what the context was, but maybe someone asked him, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So the first reason is because he didn't want to leave. Even for sure, if your life is in danger, for sure, you can leave.
Right. Pekuach nefesh, you could do anything. I mean, it goes as far as having a pig's heart being transplanted. As long as it guarantees that the person will live, Pekuach nefesh, you could do everything and anything.
Except for the big three.
Right, of course.
But but he still didn't want to. So that's why he went to Beersheba, because that's where the Shechina is. The Shechina is in Beersheba, and you see, the Arsha Machpelah was there. It's the door to Gan Eden. So he wanted to go to ask Hashem for permission. That's why it says VaYetze Beersheba. He lived in Hebron. Mm-hmm. So why VaYetze Beersheba? Because he went from Hebron to Beersheba first, and then he left Beersheba. He got his answer. Right. That's number one. Number two, the pasuk is telling us that when a tzaddik leaves a place, it's a very sad thing, mm-hmm. and it causes that people don't have guidance, and when you have a holy person somewhere, so people could look up to him, to know what to do. And here he left, and that even though Yitzchak was also tzaddik, but it's not the same thing when you have two tzaddikim. Just like sometimes it's a very interesting example that's given. And sometimes you can have, let's say, two jewels, the same jewels, they're twin jewels, they're worth a certain amount, but if one of them alone is not even worth half of that.
Elizabeth Taylor had two identical diamonds. She would charge the Javits Center every year. They have a jewelry show. Mm-hmm. They would pay her, I think it was a little over $100,000, just to showcase her two perfect stones. Mm. Now the reason why they cost so much, they were both 1 carat, but because they were so identical, each one of them were going for over $1 million. 1 carat diamond, $1 million. Why? Because of how perfectly identical they were.
Yeah, because it's so rare and so crazy. Yeah. So that's number two, and then number three is, this is very interesting. He didn't want to, because I think it was near Avimelech, right? Beersheba was right near where the king Avimelech was, and Avraham had made a promise that he's not gonna, take his land for 3 generations. There's gonna be peace for 3 generations. And Yaakov didn't want that
Treaty
oath
to
to repeat itself. He didn't want Abimelech to ask him, so he wanted to run away. So it wasn't just that he was going somewhere. He wasn't going just because of Esav and because he was to find the shidduch, but it was also he was trying to avoid Abimelech because he didn't want to have to be.
He wanted to avoid conflict. He didn't want to step on his toes. That's all.
No, the opposite.
But he wanted to avoid having to make that oath again. He didn't want to be indebted, and then basically the Jews going into Israel and taking the land might have to be postponed even more. So he wanted to avoid that, so he ran away. That was the third reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened? The second he left, Esav sent his son Eliphaz to run after.
To kill him.
To run after him.
Okay.
And basically, he caught up to him with like 10 men. They were all armed, and he had to convince him to say that if you take everything that I own, then it's as if you killed me. Because a person who's that poor was nothing, it is as if he's dead.
Okay.
And
what was the real reason why Eliphaz spared his life?
what's the real reason?
We always have, I believe it's in the next Parshah that is going to talk about Eliphaz and why he didn't kill his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna basically lean towards that Eliphaz was such a tzaddik and he couldn't kill his uncle because he learned Torah from him. One of the Torah that he learned from him was what is the 4 categories of dead people, what are considered dead. So because of that, it says that he didn't kill his uncle because he learned Torah from him, so he was grateful. The real reason is because who are the descendants of Eliphaz? Amalek.
Right.
So his uncle, when he approaches his uncle and he's about to kill his uncle Yaakov tells him, my boy, calm down. You can't kill me. It's in your best interest for you not to kill me. Why? Because when Yitzchak, your grandfather, was supposed to be shechted by his father, there was a decree that his descendants are going to have to do 400 years of slavery. I don't have kids yet. I'm not even married. Your father is married. You're the descendant of Abraham, of Yitzchak.
Wow.
If you kill me, who's going to do 400 years? Not me, you. Your descendants.
Wow.
So he spared himself. He didn't spare his uncle.
I never heard this.
Where do we have confirmation of this?
Where?
What's the first thing that Amalek did when we left Egypt? They attacked.
Right. Yeah.
Why? Because they figured 400 years is done, the decree is over, now we can do this.
Now we're avenging our...
Exactly.
Crazy.
So we came full circle. Eliphaz, the descendants of Eliphaz are Amalek. And because of that, they wanted to kill him. And because Yaakov let him know that if you kill me, you're going to have to bear the 400 years of slavery. And so he spared himself. He did it for himself, for his selfish reasons.
I never heard this.
Not because he's such a tzaddik.
That's okay. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Tzaddik,
You didn't know? You didn't know that story, really?
No. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't know anything, but that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the real reason why he spared his uncle's life.
That's very nice. That's very, very nice. Okay. Some people say actually that Esav himself ran after. It's a different opinion that says Esav ran after Yaakov. And that's one of the reasons why the sun came down early, because it became dark and he wouldn't be able to find it.
Wow, okay, I haven't heard that version.
Yeah, so. Because we know that the sun came down early so Yaakov could go to sleep and have the dream.
Okay.
Right? Well, one of the reasons was so Esav couldn't find him, according to this opinion.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
But then everything I just mentioned about Eliphaz wouldn't have taken place if that was the case.
Well, again, in general, how do you have different opinions? You know, I'm not going to go into that. We had a whole session the other day about that.
Right, okay.
But there's something very interesting. Some people say that Yaakov actually left with nothing, and that Hashem was upset with Yitzchak, saying, "Your father sent Eliezer with camels full of riches and everything, and you sent some without anything. What kind of mercy is that? What kind And
yeah, but if Eliezer already brought everything, what was the point of Yitzchak coming with goods?
No. Yitzchak didn't send Yaakov with anything.
Ah, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
Right, that makes sense. Okay.
So Hashem was upset in the sense that since then the Shekhinah left Yitzchak, which is insane. It's like a big public, but he's a tzaddik, so, But and that's why it says in the pasuk, Yaakov Avinu went, and even though his parents were rich, he left and didn't complain. He said, Hashem's going to take care of me. And that's why it says in the pasuk, it says, Asher shekel Yaakov be'ezro sivro Hashem lokav. Right? It's in one of the Halalukas. It says, praise to the one that the God of Yaakov is helping him, and that his hope is on his God. And it says, Kel Yaakov. It doesn't say Abraham or Yitzchak. Why? Because of this. Because Yaakov went and totally depended on God and didn't worry about anything. This is a very, I don't know how much time we have left, but this is a very, very cool, very, very beautiful message. Yaakov went all the way to Haran already, and then he remembered, how could I have passed by Har Moriah, where my grandfather Avram and my father Yitzchak prayed? How could I not go pray? And then he turned around, and just when he wanted to go, boom, he was there already. Right? There was a kfizas derech, a miracle happened, and in a second he was there. So the question is, why did he have to go through the whole thing? Why didn't they just let him know from heaven that he needs to go there? And go there, back and forth.
He needs to come to this realization himself.
Very good. It says that when it comes to Torah, when it comes to doing the right thing, when it comes to the service of a man to his creator, if a person will not go and make the effort on his own, he's going to lose it. He's going to lose the opportunity. The moment that he wants to do it and he puts the effort, then they help him from above. Then heaven helps him, which is an incredible idea.
Do you remember how I told you how I acquired the Rebbe's dowry?
Say again. Tell me again. How did you get the Rebbe?
I didn't tell you about it.
You did. I forgot though. I forgot the story.
I was ready to pay $4,000 for it, and that day when I was ready to pay $4,000 for it, I was telling one of my customers about it. And he turns around and he says to me, "You know what? Look no further. Clearly, the Rebbe wants you to have it. You gotta have it because you put in the effort." That day I was standing there giving him a haircut with $4,000 in my pocket. I was 100% sure in 2 hours I was going to buy the four bills, the four $1 bills from the Rebbe. And he gifted it to me.
Wow.
Goes to show you that when you put in the effort, when you genuinely want to do it, when you're ready to do it, it comes to you. So just like you said, you have to come to that realization. It's never going to come to you on a silver platter. You have to earn it, and you have to earn it with realizing yourself what is right.
That's incredible.
Look into it about the whole story with the Nifaz. You're gonna love it. When I read it, I was like, "Whoa, this is mind blowing."
That's crazy. Okay, so now we're talking about Arvit, right? Because Yaakov Avinu was the one to pray Ma'ariv, right? There's a whole story here. Rabbi Gamliel, who was the Nasi, the leader at that time, or he was the Rosh Yeshiva.
Okay.
Rabbi Gamliel was the Rosh Yeshiva in the yeshiva at that point, where all the Talmidei Chachamim would come and learn. And when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was young, he asked Rabbi Yeshua, "Do you have to pray Arvit, or is it like an option?" And Rabbi Yeshua said, it's an option, you don't have to. And then he asked Rabbi Gamliel, and Gamliel said, "You have to, of course." So then Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, but Rabbi Yeshua said that you don't have to. It's not. So then he said, "Okay, we'll wait until everyone comes." So then Rabbi Gamliel says that it's an obligation. And then he asks, "Does anybody argue with me?" So Rabbi Yeshua stands up, he says, "No." I guess it was out of respect. And Rabbi Gamliel got angry and he said, "I heard in your name that you do argue."
Okay.
So again, these arguments happen in Shem Shemaim. They were for the sake of heaven.
Right.
Anyway, so he had to admit that he did say that, and he was very upset, and he made him stand, because when somebody stands, he has to get permission from the Rosh Yeshiva to sit down.
Okay.
And he didn't give him permission. And the rest of the people there were so upset at how he treated him. He treated him like because he was upset about how he went about it. But the rest of the Chachamim over there were so upset they decided that they're going to remove him from being a Rosh Yeshiva. And they didn't know who to put up. They didn't want to put Rabbi Yeshua because that's going to be too much of it's the one who he was arguing with. They didn't want to put Rabbi Akiva because Rabbi Akiva was from a family of converts and he wouldn't have the merit of his forefathers. And if Rabbi Gamliel would curse him, God forbid something can happen to him. So then they wanted to,
Wow, they even thought that deep. Okay.
So then they asked Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and he was very young. Right, that's the one who was only 18 years old.
Right.
And so he said he wanted to sleep on it. And then the next morning he woke up and he had 17 streaks of
Gray hair, yeah.
of white hair, and so he realized that was meant to
The
be.
time,
And that day,
because he says, he answers him, he says, my beard is not even white yet. So
Yeah.
he sleeps on it the next morning, he
Yeah.
says it's a sign. Yeah, I remember that. I recall that story vaguely.
exactly. So then Rabbi Yeshua. So then they had to figure out: is Arvit a reshut or is it chova? Do you have to or do you not have to? And so they went according to Rabbi Yeshua at that time, right? So Rabbi Gamliel decided, you know what? Now I think I should go and apologize to him.
Okay.
And he goes to his house, and Rabbi, he was actually someone who sold. He sold coal.
Okay.
And so he walked to his house and he saw that his house the walls were black. And he said, "Wow, I thought you were rich, but now I see that you sell coals." Why did he think he was rich? Because he borrowed nice clothing from other people so that he should look respectable in the Beit Midrash.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow, I had no idea about this.
yeah, so then Rabbi Yeshua tells him, "Woe is to the generation that you're leading that you don't even know the people in your own yeshiva what state they're in. Maybe you should have asked." And Ramil he realized his error and he said, "I'm sorry." He asked for forgiveness. He didn't answer him right away. And then Ramil said, "In the merit of my father, please forgive me," and he forgave him.
Wow.
And then what happened was that and then they said, okay, so now that Ramil fixed his thing, so now we should put him back for Rosh Yeshiva. But you can't take Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and demote him,
Right.
because Ma'alim Ba'Kodesh, when it comes to holiness, you can only go up, you can't go down. So you can't take someone who now you put him to the highest thing and just demote him for no reason. You can't demote someone like that for no reason. So, and they didn't want to do half because there would be machlekas. They didn't want to do like one Shabbos, because I guess every Shabbos they would give a drasha, right? Give a drasha. So they figured that Gamliel, who was there for longer and he inherited from his fathers, and his father before him, he's going to do 3 Shabbosim, right? 3 Shabbosim, he's going to say the lecture, and then 1 Shabbos, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah will say the lecture. And that's how that little thing ends.
Stood it up, okay.
Yeah, and it was just an interesting story, talking about Arvit, so it mentions, the whole evolution of, how...
But which prayer is considered to be the highest level?
I don't know. I think there's something special about Mincha because Mincha is in the middle of the day, and when people stop everything they're doing to go and pray, it's very special to God because they're putting everything else on the side and saying, "God, you're my priority." You wake up in the morning, you have the obligation to pray first thing. So even though it's longer and it has the most things, but it's not the same thing as someone who says, "I'm sorry, I have to stop everything I'm doing. I'm going to go pray now." So it's very special. I don't know if I don't know exactly, but I know Mincha has that special thing about it.
Because most requests were made by the Jewish nation during Mincha, meaning that if they were asking something from Hashem, anything they were asking for, they would ask during Mincha time.
Really?
I would think that it would
Yes.
make sense that it would be the highest spiritually if that's when you start making requests.
Maybe that's the reason. Think about it. Imagine when you have there's someone really important to you and you steal time. It's take 10 minutes and be with them. Even though it's so little time, but it's just so much more precious because you stole that time.
Right, because you took it away from...
Yeah.
I get it, yeah. Makes sense.
It says like this. Oh, so it says Yaakov made a promise that if Hashem will be with me, and He'll give me, it says if He's gonna watch me on this way, and He's gonna give me bread to eat and clothing to wear. So then after He says, and when I return to my father's house, then Hashem will be my God, and this stone will be, this stone will be a place of God, a house of God, which later would be the Beis HaMikdash. The question is it appropriate for
He's
Yaakov?
referring to all the stones that became one. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is it appropriate that Yaakov should say that only on the condition he's gonna do this beautiful thing for God? Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Right? He's a holy man. The answer is that it wasn't a condition, it was more a way that this will happen. Meaning, in order for me to be able to do this, I need this and this and this to happen. I need to survive.
It was quite logical. He's basically telling Hashem, if you don't give me bread and water, I can't.
How am I going to do this?
Right, exactly.
So, and what is it? That means something for us nowadays. What does that mean? The neshama, through Torah mitzvahs, the neshama gets, right, it goes higher. That's why it comes down to this world. Mm-hmm. However, there's another reason for us being here, which perhaps is even the real reason why we're here, and that is to make this world a dwelling place for God. Right? There's so much darkness in the world, and when we do the mitzvahs and we do the right thing, and we light this world up with our connection to God, and by doing good deeds and learning Torah, so we're making this place a place where God can reside again. Right, where God can be. That's what the vs.fear was. Vs.fear was a place where the Shekhinah could rest openly, and that's greater in a way than the neshama going higher, because that creates a connection with Hashem that wasn't there before. Right? Meaning the neshama is always connected to God. This is creating a connection to God. And so, how do you explain these psukim? If God will be with me is talking about when you do Torah and mitzvahs, right? How? Sur Meirah, there's two things that when you serve God, there's two things. There's not doing the wrong thing, removing yourself from bad, and then doing good. Ushmarani, and He'll watch me. What does that mean? Moving away from bad, right? To guard yourself from bad. If God will guard me. Then, Ba'asei Tov, do the good thing, lechem ubeged, right? Bread, sustenance, and clothing, that's mitzvahs. Right? That's the stuff that nourish our soul. That's not the stuff you stay away from, that's the stuff you go to. That's the good thing. So then, what will happen? Then, then God will be my God, which means what? My neshama will go higher. And then if I'll be able to also return to my father's house, which means what? That even in my father's house I can be in peace, which means, what does that mean? That in this world I can transform even the mundane, even the unholy, even my surroundings into holiness. So then this stone, this world which is like a stone, will become a dwelling place for God.
Even the physical world.
Even the physical world, which before was nothing, had no holiness, I'm going to transform and make it a place for God.
Wow.
And that's what this pasuk is telling us.
Wow. It's still recording.
Yeah, this is still recording. So we're gonna do our outro here. Look how wide this is, though.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, smash the like button.
Right here. This is the camera. Go bam.
Oh. Smash the like button, and you're always welcome.
Yeah, come if you're in the area, come by. Maybe we'll let people know the day of when we're filming, so they can come by, and we'll have some more people. In the comments, write down if you like that. If that's an idea that you guys would like to see. Mm-hmm. And good Shabbos until next time.
Good Shabbos, always welcome. Take care.